this one's, scoot yours over just a little bit too. The little thing is getting the back of your tablet. About 2 inches. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
We may have to just go on with yours because I'm going to start talking about storage. You already live, right?
It's okay, because once I download it, I can trim it. Absolutely. That's perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live broadcast today. We have a very special segment. I am your host, Pastor Danielle McCoy, founder and CEO of the McCoy Financial Group, LLC, and eChurch International. And I have the pleasure of sitting here today with one of my dear brothers in ministry, none other than Dr. Frederick Acklin.
Good evening. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while. You've literally been around the world and back again. And we just want to welcome you to our broadcast. We're calling this segment Moments with Dr. Frederick Acklin. And what I would like to do today is to just go on a journey of what has been going on with you since you decided to come out of the pulpit full-time on a Sunday-to-Sunday basis as a pastor. And I think that happened in 2021, correct? And what's been happening then? Because oftentimes we will see pastors come out of the pulpit and we don't understand why and what the next moves were. So what was one of the things that prompted you to say, okay, it's time for me to give up pulpit ministry and to go to another level or a different part in ministry?
Okay, so first of all, I mean, I like to believe that my life is God-led, and being apostolic in function, I never went anywhere, just being locked in for eternity, in a sense, right? So it was always assignment-based, and basically, when you download it to me, I kind of knew about 3 years before it happened, so I started trying to line up leadership here in Columbus for that transition. But in light of your question, when I came out, just because I'd been pastoring, senior pastoring for over 2 decades, the literature and the downloads didn't stop. So preaching and teaching at least 3 times a week and going to just a halt. This is where many individuals may be watching, seeing that a lot of books aren't rolling out. So the next few years, I just was dropping books after books after books. Well, that's because the sermons and the downloads and stuff didn't stop. So I just would still write manuscript, and that's how all the books start coming. So I start writing books like Apostolic Catalyst, Understanding Fundamentals of the Kingdom, Apostolic Momentum, Engage in the Marketplace, all of those particular things, writing business books as well, because I wasn't just, as a founding pastor, it wasn't just the priestly side where I was elected, but as a founding pastor, you do a lot of the business in the back office, and so there's a business side to ministry, and that's one of the reasons why I was able to even write the business book. So what I did is I began to write a lot of literature.
Mm-hmm. So let me help people that don't know exactly who you are, or may not understand the fivefold ministry gift of the functions, because you're not just a pastor, but you are also an apostle as well, and operate as an evangelist. So tell me how all of those giftings have worked together for you to be able to build where you are now.
Okay, so according to how God train me, and typically it's his blueprint for how he trains many, is that he touches you in fivefold. So we have first apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers, right? And so starting out, I was Evangelist Acklin. That's how he kind of moved me, and I had a very evangelistic grace. Anybody that watched me when I first launched, I was doing tents all over the city. I actually absolutely loved it, but we grew so fast that I had to immediately shift into administration, because now you got to put systems in place and structure in place and all of that to be able to manage growth. And so God took me fast. So, but I will just say that I was always apostle in nature, prophetic in nature, and apostle in function. So that was me with just a touch of these things. So I had a pastor's heart where I cared for the individuals and things like that. But even in the churches that I was a senior pastor, again, that's a term that we used. I was really always functioning as an apostle, and I had care pastors and things like that in there. But that's kind of how it worked with me. It's just being able to be touched in those areas. But I did not maximize in them all. I really maximized more so my apostolic grace.
And that's right, you do operate in all of the fivefold ministry gifts, because I remember the very first time that I heard you speak, it was more in the teaching capacity. You came to our church and you taught, yes, and you taught a seminar, and I told my then husband, I said, oh my gosh, he is an absolutely amazing teacher. So it's just, it seems that you're very fluent in all of the fivefold ministry gifts. So I can assume that when you transitioned from being a pastor from Sunday to Sunday, it was just God shifting things around for you to operate more in the apostolic.
That's correct, more in the apostolic, and before it was with a hint of the marketplace, but then now it was fully in the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, so I've always kept that business entrepreneur spirit there that I had, but just in the marketplace, really more so when I say that he took the limits off of me, or the restrictions, where I grew a group of people. Sometimes again, because the Lord doesn't go against a person's will, a group of people just about as far as they wanted to go. That didn't mean that was the end of where I was going, but it was as far as they wanted to go. And so the Lord was not going to allow that to restrict me from the international piece, and being able to do business, because at the end of the day, somebody still has to fund the ministry.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you have a very unique gift. One of the things that you did in Columbus, and I would say that it can be definitely a model for a lot of people across the United States in ministry, because you've done something that a lot of pastors who've been in a pulpit for many years did not do. You have ownership of your ministry facility. Let's talk about that and what you're doing with it.
Right now, okay, so yes, so basically, congregation I had at the time, what I did is I was actually trying to prepare a son or a daughter, a spiritual son or a daughter. So it was someone that had my DNA, that understood the heartbeat of the ministry, what our vision was, so they could just really carry it on. That's what succession, apostolic succession looks like. But it didn't go that way. So had to bring someone in that, of course, was capable, and the people grew to love, and so basically that was that. But what I did is when I first came, 2011, previous shepherd, was struggling with an illness. He had Alzheimer's for about 5 years. The congregation had dwindled down to maybe about 15 people. The mortgage was behind 3 going on 4 months. It was in foreclosure, that type of thing when I took this, right? And I never forget, the lead deacon at the time said, hey man, we can afford to pay a man of your capacity, your caliber. And I was like, well, we never talked about finances. Who said anything about that? I said, I believe God has given me this assignment, and so I'm gonna take it on. And I just remember at that particular time, all they could give me was gas to get back to Huntsville. And so basically, the business side of me just said, I started talking with a different banker at a different bank, and he coached me through some things, and that's when I began to understand the nonprofit and the for-profit side and how they can collaborate together. So I was able to take my for-profit right now on this property with the deal I did back in 2016 when I refinanced it and got it in my name. Is my company, HLE Solutions, is the corporate guarantor of this deal. So basically, we set that up, and I wanted to be in an ownership just position, just because I knew what I was going to invest in and all of that. And I say to any leader that again, where you may be anointed to preach, be sure that you at least have a mentor or whatever that can guide you on the business side, because at the end of the day, if you can't run the back office, then you can't push vision.
You're right, because I have seen so many talented, gifted ministers whose ministries stay at a certain level, and you may say to yourself, well, maybe that's not all God intended, but sometimes the ministries don't grow beyond that, or they fail simply because there's not a real knowledge of how to run it and to make it successful, because finances are out of whack, or they don't know what to do with the money. Because one of the things that I know that a lot of the bigger other churches do is that they will take the money and rather than letting it sit up in a bank, they will take it and invest it into stocks. There are oftentimes members that will make a portion, or not all, of their life insurance go to the ministry, so that the residual so that can be like a residual income or something that comes into the ministry once they pass away. So even though they're gone, it's still there. And there's those things, it may not just come with you just seeking God. Mm-hmm. And reading the scriptures, because he gives us one another to be able to pour into each other. So they're financial advisors. I met a young lady at a conference I went to in Atlanta. She's an attorney from Chicago, and she was talking about how to set your ministries up correctly so that you can posture yourself for greatness, so that you can protect your ministry. Right. Because there's a lot of ministries that somebody come in and trip and fall, and they don't have the proper insurance. Right. And it looks like you've been a thorough person to take care of all of that. So the facility that you have now, you call it an apostolic hub. Yes. What does that mean? Because I want to get an understanding for the people, especially that's local or in the surrounding area. How can they benefit from this apostolic hub?
Okay, so basically, again, going back to the storyline. So once that particular individual came in, the congregation that I had that I loved, and I trusted him with them. And he's still doing a great job with them, but they ended up taking on his household brand name, which was fine, because they're still being careful, no matter what you called it. And so basically, they transitioned out, and I still kept the building because of. Here's the thing: just because I transitioned didn't mean that the vision for this community stopped. And so I wanted to be sure that this community still was set up where they could receive financial literacy, where they could receive empowerment. And so this apostolic hub and this marketplace center here now, that's actually like right now in this main hall that I call the main hall. One time we called the sanctuary because it's commercial property for me. There is a thriving church ministry that meets right here midweek and on Sunday mornings. And when we were able to negotiate their lease terms, I was in a position to be a blessing to the kingdom, because I was able to stay something that they could afford. And so they done my heart well, that we still can impact this community and make it affordable for those who are trying to grow ministry. Right over in our event center, which was at that time the cafe, there's a church that meets there. And we set the budget based on what they could do, what they could afford, and so they meet there. Right now, as we're in here, there's a group over there in the event center right now. Parking lot's full, and they're doing ministry. I mean, matter of fact, the woman God gave me a prophetic word before I came out of there or whatever. She was dead on point. But my point is that it's an apostolic hub and marketplace center that we still can impact this community. And I thank God I was in a position, an ownership position, that could keep the doors open and the lights on and all of that, and still make it affordable for those who have vision for this community.
And it's such a great idea because I know firsthand funding ministry is hard and it takes a lot. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of ministries don't make it, is because maybe there's not enough members to meet the monthly budget of all of the overhead. And so I believe that it's a great idea because there's so many ministries, and I want to encourage anybody that's in the Columbus area. If you are having a Bible study, you're just starting, why not consider, instead of taking on the responsibility of the overhead of a building and utilities for an entire month, connect with someone like Dr. Acklin, who has an apostolic hub, so that you can build your ministry. Because I believe it's one of the visions or reasons why you have it open to the community. This may not be your forever home, but a great starting place so that it can be a blessing to your ministry. I remember being married and being in ministry, and some months it took everything out of our household that my husband brought in to take care of the ministry.
Right.
And that's just not good wisdom. If there is another opportunity, I would suggest to anybody, make sure that you take advantage of this. And now, talking about business or business mind, we can't leave this out, because not only are you a pastor, an apostle, you operate in all the fivefold ministry gifts, but you are a very astute businessman. You are a general contractor. You have other businesses that you can tell us about, and you're not just doing business in the States, but you're doing this business internationally. So give us a little bit of background on what you're doing in business right now.
Okay, yes. So again, I'm a builder by trade, and an electrician by trade. So those are two of my things. And so I have a home building company, and I have a general contracting company that's commercial side. And so like right now, I'm doing my second ship on a gas station investor that I deal with. That's what he invests in, and the GC record. We're doing that. I build schools, churches, and so that's one of the companies that we have. We also have an electrical company. We are we have a contract for like the last 5 years with one of the largest builders in North Alabama, and so we're in like 9 subdivisions. We are wiring at least about 110 houses a year. That's just one wing of it. That's not counting the commercial jobs and stuff like that. And so outside of that, I opened up a media company. I opened up a company where we actually do all the graphics, and so now the books that I author and stuff like that. So we have a publishing company, we have a dealership, and it goes on and on. And so from that point is when I bridged the Acklin Group. That's why I call the Acklin Group, so I can put all of my companies under it. And so that's some of what we're doing. And what really made that, what makes that easy is because I understand, and I teach this and I coach this, it's the God model. I would tell anyone that want to go in business that actually starting one from conception better be a God thing. It's a whole lot easier to just do a franchise, right? And so I'm about the franchise model, understand the franchise model, because God was the first one that did that. When He said, I want to franchise myself into the earth, and I'm going to set up. I got the systems, I got the manual, and I'm going to give them. I'm going to put a franchisee called Adam in the earth, and he's going to run it, and then when I implement the tithe, they're going to give 10% back to corporate. That's how I see like this whole thing. I see it from a corporate business model, where people still arguing and tripping over tithe and stuff like that. Like you definitely don't understand corporate business. Like this is what God was rolling out when he did that, and then you have the backing of corporate. What's up, you buying on earth? I'm buying in heaven. What's up, you lose on earth? I'm losing, all that. But anyway, that's what we're doing. I am a serial entrepreneur, and so it made it easy because what I did is that I just linked with persons who already were doing the work, and then I bought into it, and then I created my own brand and my own name from it, and then I kicked back a percentage of it. So that's what made me having my companies so much easier. When I really started just taking on several, it looked like it was just popping up everywhere. It was really more the franchise model.
So when we take ministry and the marketplace or being an entrepreneur and we marry the two together, it's something that it's like the buzz around church and ministry right now. But I guess what you're saying is that it's not a new thing, just the way that we are articulating it.
Right.
Because we've got to move away. I'm gonna get in trouble, y'all, and I don't care about getting in trouble. But we've got to move away from making people feel as if all they've got to do is come up to the altar and drop a $77 offering or a $22.50 offering, you know, those special numbers, and your whole life is going to change. Now, where God may begin to move because of your obedience to that, but there's still things that we have to do in order to build and create wealth. If we look at people like Abraham in the Bible, Abraham was a wealthy man, very wealthy man, and I don't know that he had people coming up to the offering plate, dropping off tithes and offerings to him or a special offering. Right. It was that he worked, he put a plan in place, he executed the system, and he was able to build wealth. So I'm glad that there are people like yourself to be this example for what God wants to really do through his people so that we can build kingdom. So talking about building kingdom, before we get a little further, let's go into just your personal life, your background and everything, because for what most intents and purposes are a person who's in your position, people would think that they came from a household and their background was squeaky clean.
Right.
But there were some challenges along the way.
That's correct. That's correct.
And I know we were talking a little bit earlier, and you'll explain this, how you've even transitioned your ministry to show from where you were and that ministry name to show where you are now. But what was the beginnings for Dr. Frederick Acklin?
So the beginnings were definitely very humble beginnings, but I'm PK. You know, my father was in ministry, was a pastor for almost 40 years. He just, of course, we know he just transitioned back August 15th. But so I rebelled early, and you know, I got in those streets really heavy, you know, and so Divine Restoration Ministries came from the Lord downloading this to me in 1999 while I was in a prison cell, and I had been there for going on 6 years at that time. So I was sentenced to 7 multiple life sentences. I had 7 Class A felonies, and judge gave me life on every case. Just because, you know, I wouldn't turn state evidence or whatever, and so that's who you're talking to, and God said, I'm going to have you live this out. I'm going to divinely restore you, and so you're gonna do a ministry called Divine Restoration Ministries, and that's where that came from, DRM. And so actually in 2021, when he transitioned me from that, you know, I was trying to just give language to what he was saying to me in the spirit. And we used the word retirement, and I think some people looked at it like, well, too young to retire. Oh, he must be grieving his mom, or maybe it was most recent hit he took. He went through this or whatever, but it was none of that. It was really the Lord. And right after we done my send-off in June of 2021, I was packing up my townhome in Phoenix City and headed to Huntsville. I'll never forget. And my dad called me and said, "Hey, were you expecting a letter from the Board of Pines and Roads?" I said, "I'm always expecting something. What you mean?" Okay. And he was like, "Well, can I open it up? You want me to open it up?" I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, basically, my obedience to God to do that shifted me that 90 days after my retirement, I got a letter from the pardon board that they were giving me a hearing. And I went in that October, and they granted me a full pardon. Gave me all my rights back, gun rights back, voting rights back, closed my jacket. And then this is what they said. They said, "Hey, do you have any travel plans?" I said, "Yeah, I got some travel plans." And then they said, "Well, we're going to expedite this." And they expedited it for me. And I immediately got my passport. And that's when I just knew it started coming to me. I said, "Okay, Lord, you resigned me because it was now time for me to go international."
Absolutely. I want to say 2 things about that. Number one, that means none of us have any excuses.
No.
Because you were operating not even with your full rights, but within whatever you could do. You worked for 20 years. and you pushed forth in ministry, you built your business, you did everything that you could legally do to make sure that you had a life that was successful and that illuminated the presence and favor of God.
Right.
And so from that point on, the second point is, so you got your pardon and you hit the ground running and you hit the air flying.
I hit the air flying. I was out. And I will say this too, and the Lord began to, I would say, reward me, you know, because some people was wondering, like, well, man, you know, because they only saw the rabbit. They didn't see the duck in the rabbit, or the rabbit in the duck. You know what I'm saying? They only saw me in a certain dimension. And so for maybe a couple of years, it might appear to, oh, is he getting worldly? What's going on? You know, whatever, because he only saw me in one light, you know. But the Lord actually vacated me, like you gave up your best years, okay, and you did well. You ran hard. You planted multiple churches, baptized a lot of people, you made a lot of sacrifices. I want you to enjoy yourself for this season, and that's really what I did during that time. Like, he allowed me to just travel, see and experience some things. Watch this, and right after that as well, I got the call from Oprah Winfrey Network. I'm just saying, I got the call from Oprah Winfrey Network to be featured on a show out of Huntsville, and so just one thing after the other that set me up for the international piece, the marketplace piece, and then exposure into arts and entertainment.
Absolutely. And so
in 12 months.
And with the international piece, we're not just talking about traveling, but some significant things have happened in your international travels, because you are a resident of Dominican Republic.
That's right.
And you've also become married recently.
Yes.
And I believe you met your wife there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I did. So the DR, you know, we would hear a lot about it, and I was like, well, man, I'm putting it on the bucket list. I got to go. And my first trip to the DR, to the Dominican Republic, at the resort I was staying at, my wife was working there, and I never forget, I saw her. We locked in, and I asked the guy who she was, about her or whatever, and one thing led to another. Got a chance to talk and chat, and I found out that she was in the property management and those particular. So initially for me, even though she was gorgeous and beautiful and all of that, when I seen what she was doing, I said, okay, well, you know, I got some investors. We've been talking about building over here and things like that. So, you know, whether it went this way or not, I was going to definitely do business. And so I met her the first time, and so 3 years of, 2 years of us dating and stuff like that. We got married September of last year. So we just celebrated 1 year anniversary. Just 1 year anniversary. And from the time we got married, we actually built a home, because she owned a lot in a subdivision that was undeveloped. So what I did, I was like, well, let's pay this one off. And what I wanted to build, you know, I went on and bought a couple more lots, twice that size. Then the lots behind them, because I ain't want no house behind me. And it was just beautiful. Then we built a nice three-story home, you know, rooftop and bedrooms on one level, and a master on the first level as well for mother-in-law suite. No, it's beautiful. It's absolutely.
I was gonna say, stop being modest, because I saw it on Instagram, and I saw it is a very modern look.
Yeah.
You're not gonna come there and see this. No. It's a very modern look. Everything looks beautiful. I see those glossy white floors.
Right.
And
all porcelain.
All porcelain. So everything is absolutely beautiful. And I just want to say that does give a testament to God moving you from a place of restoration and into a place of dominion, because it is exhibiting exactly who your father is as a king. Because I do believe that we should have the best as his children of God, and that shows also that God does not leave us where we allow sin to take us.
That's correct.
But when he redeems us, he redeems us fully, and he brings us into total sonship. And how can we be sons and daughters of the kings and we're out here living raggedy?
Right.
When we have the potential, but again, we got to do the work, because that's the other thing, because everybody's not going to walk on that level. Let's just be honest. The Bible says the poor are going to be with us always.
That's what he said.
But everybody's not going to walk on that level. But I do believe that God gives us a choice and a will and how our lives are going to turn out, but we have got to put in the work. We've got to get serious, get down, put in the elbow grease or whatever to make sure that it happens. So I'm very proud of you and the things that you have accomplished. So let's talk about ministry just a little bit more, because of course we know that you've planted churches here in the United States. So I want to talk just a little bit about what it is that you've done here before we go internationally. So you're not pastoring in Columbus anymore, but are there other churches that are under your leadership as an apostle?
Yes, so we still have DRMs. We have a DRM, Divine Restoration Ministries, in Clarksville, Tennessee. My son has been with me 17 years. He's been with me, him and my daughter, and so we have a DRM Clarksville there that has been in existence for 15 of those 17 years. And so while we resigned the name DRM here in Columbus, and God transitioned, said, hey, listen, I fulfilled Divine Restoration Ministry. You are Divine Restoration. He said, now I've divinely restored you. You're going to walk in dominion. And that's where the name Dominion came from, because that's what we're implementing, moving in. But yes, we still have that campus, and I pastor the pastors. So I just oversee it, operating as an apostle. They handle all of that, the direct contact with the people and all of that, and I just cover them, mentor them. I go in a couple times a year, just to, train, encourage, build up, edify, and I'm at their disposal at any given time. So that's what that looks like.
So is there a fellowship that people can join? Say if I'm a pastor and I'm watching this video and I say, hey, this is a man of God that I want to connect with because I'm ready to move into Dominion. I want to fly out. Right. and he seems to have the blueprint for it. So is there a way for ministries or pastors to connect with you and to be a part of what you're doing?
Yeah, so one, they can go directly to www.dominiontv.online. There's a link on there that says connect. So I created, after my transition here in 2021, created Dominion and Network Alliance, DNA, Dominion Network Alliance. And what this is, it is a fellowship of marketplace, which is business owners and entrepreneurs, as well as those who are priests who may be one of the fivefold ministry gifts. So I do have that up, and you're pushing me, but I'm glad that I got this opportunity to be interviewed by you, because for the first time in history, I'm now officially opening it up to receive individuals who want to come in and connect with it for covering, for mentorship, because I hadn't actually done that, even though that was the blueprint and the foundation of it. So yes, I'm welcoming now other apostles, other pastors. If you need covering, if you want mentorship, even if you're a business owner and you want mentorship in your marketplace, that's what I'm providing through Dominion Network Alliance.
And and I know this is very important, and I don't know this for fact, but I'm going to say this is my observation. There's a church here in Columbus, big church, and I went to another big church in Charlotte a few weeks ago, and everything was almost exactly the same. From the parking lot, the way that they parked you, the way that they greeted you, even some of the literature, it just almost seemed like the name was different, but it was the same vibe. The overflow area, how they managed the traffic, how they managed the children's ministry. And as I started to look around, even the way that the stage was, the way that the church was built, the way that they greet the new visitors, they have a tent outside for the new visitors. Right. And they give you a free t-shirt in a bag when you came in. I said, I've seen this before. And the first thing that I told my bishop, and I said, these churches have gone to companies that already have the blueprint, because I know you're using builder's language, but they already have the blueprint that says your church is growing and this is where you want to go. We already know how to manage the people. We already know how to manage the traffic. We already know what you need to do to be on point with the social media aspect of it. Right. All of the systems. There was a plan that was definitely in place, even down to the giving. The giving was absolutely exactly the same. And I know that we feel like God gave me a vision and what he gave me is unique and I need to run with it. But your vision still has to have a system.
A system.
A system to it. So talk about just, I guess, some of the things that you do to help ensure that there's things in place and that there's a plan to be followed that'll be successful.
Okay, so this is one of the things I teach or I coach, as you see the background on. This is one of my entities, Leadership Empowerment Resource Group, is that the CEO or the senior leader, whether it's ministry or in your business, you're in the front seat and you're only focused on two things, and that's through the windshield. Our job, because the growth of your organization falls on the back of leadership. We got to own it, y'all. And so we push vision and we push culture. That's what we're saying. So we push vision and culture. So what you see when you put up through these campuses, you see the same culture.
Right.
One of the models that we have in it, I'm sure all of us can attest to and relate to, is Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A still right now, people go there at lunch and the cars are wrapped around the building 3 times. And we don't get mad at nothing because they still have a system in place to navigate you through. The posture is going to be my pleasure. It's a pleasure serving you. All of this is culture. This is taught in the manual. You don't get it. You can be from the hood and work there, and but none of that'll come out while you're in their culture. You have to push their culture. You can do that when you clock out, but you won't do that there. And this is what we have to focus on in our churches as well as in our businesses. We have to push our brand. And so I do the same thing with my guys in the company as well, is that people expect an experience. So I don't just build your house. We give you an experience, right? And they don't want to see somebody pull up smelling like weed. I mean, kicking cans out the car. And I'm just, all of that. Now I'm not necessarily against the weed smoke. If that's what you do outside of that, that's your business. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I'm just saying that while you're representing my culture, this is how we have to do it. And I said that to say that if we go all the way back to the Lord, y'all, this stuff is, I'm not pushing. This is not about control. God was the first to set up the franchise model. He says, I'm going to extend myself and create the earth. And I'm going to have a chief operating officer that I'm going to put in the earth because I'll always be CEO. That's what God said. And he created Adam. He gives Adam the systems.
Right.
Okay. The waters divided from the waters. They're not only going to go so far. And the sun going to rise and set. And all these systems in place. He gave man the manual. And then he said, hey, just don't eat from this tree. And I guarantee you that you will prosper with this blueprint. It's the same thing, y'all. Same model.
Absolutely, because you use 2 important words, culture and experience. And when it comes to leadership, I believe leaders have to understand that because, yes, it's about the word, but it's also about the people.
Yes.
And I heard someone say the other day that you got to love leadership and you got to love the people. And if you love the people, you'll be able to accomplish your mission. There are people who want to grow their ministries to the reach of what we're about to talk to in a minute, even internationally. But the culture and the experience is sometimes so off for the people that they go and they like what you're saying, but they look around and the experience isn't doing it for them.
Wow.
Or they look around and it's not a culture that they can really fit into because they come and they're not greeted from the parking lot to the front door.
In the parking lot.
Right. They're not greeted from the parking lot to the front door. So let's talk about you expanding what you've learned. You built ministry in the States, but you had a time that you were restricted. Then God opened the doors of favor. You got your pardon, and now you're able to go any and everywhere. What has been your first stop in building ministry internationally? Okay, so 2012, a guy reached out to me, which is a son now. 2012 reached out to me from Kenya, and he wanted mentorship, he wanted covering, and so a lot of people didn't know that the congregation I shepherded knew that 2013 we actually planted our first international church. So we have a Divine Restoration Ministries in Kisii, Kenya. So 2013, we put that in place. Through the years, I funded the place. I actually built the church building over there on land, all of that. We did all that. But guess what? I couldn't go.
But after I got released, we put that on the radar, got a chance to go there for the first time and be on the ground. And man, I was welcome, man. The culture, we planted trees. Let me plant trees out on the grounds and all that. But we're doing that right now there. And in my first mission trip, we received 12 sons that are part of Dominion. So 12 other churches other um, than DRM Kissy there, and we have collaborated together. When I come, like I'm going back in November, we all gather together as one unit, and we are now in the process of building one big mega church that I'm the chief apostle of, where everyone comes to, but then in the community wise, because the locations and stuff like that, they still can do community work with the people right there in the region, but then everybody understands they have one general. And so that's what we're doing on the ground over there, going back in November. And here's the most exciting thing is that just this week, um, just working on it in the background and all that, because I'm big in academics. So I just got fully accredited for my international school.
Okay, awesome. So what's the name of the school?
So the name of the school is it's Kingdom Kingdom Academy.
Kingdom Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a school for children,
Mm-hmm.
correct? And it's a part of, do you have a children's home there?
Yeah,
as well, correct?
yeah. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so we built the children's home. It's called Acklin, the Acklin Children's Home, and I actually support right now 9 children, and dress them, feed them, because over there it's not like here where through taxes you can just go to public school. Over there, if you don't have the mom, dad, uncle, cousin don't have money, you pay school fees. If you don't have the money, you can't go to school. And so we're actually supporting some of them to actually go to school and all that. So I'm really, really proud of that. So we built a home because these particular children don't have a mom or dad.
Mm.
Yeah, they don't have a mom or dad, and so we're that, and I thank God for Frederick. My son's name is Frederick as well, Frederick McCory, and my daughter for what they're doing with those children there, and so the Destiny Center Academy is a Bible college, but also professional training center as well. So now we can offer. Well, I have my first 9 people there receiving their certificate degrees this November. So in biblical studies, but we can also offer certificate degrees, associate degrees, bachelor degrees, master degrees, all the way to doctoral level. And it's not just Christian counseling, but also too, since we're marketplace as well, straight business development, chaplaincy, all of that is in the school. So I'm just super excited. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm even more excited because I'm the chancellor now, and a dean, and so now through support, through people coming on board, I'm in a position to actually offer scholarship now. That even when a person is not in a position, I can actually scholarship their education, and then build a bridge. And I might be saying too much right now, but build a bridge from Kenya back to the U.S.
That is absolutely amazing. And I'm just excited. It's blowing my mind over here because, again, I just keep thinking none of us have an excuse because I know where you came from.
Right.
I know the beginnings. I know the story and the transition that you have been through. Let's talk about the differences. We talked about culture, so let's talk about the differences in pastoring and doing ministry in another country, a place such as Kenya,
right,
versus how we are in the United States,
totally
how
different.
We take Christianity.
Totally different.
Okay, what are some of the differences?
And I got one word for that. One word for that is options. We feel here in the West that we have options, and so we're used to going to a corner and there's 5 different restaurants to choose from, and going to a corner in a city and there's 5 different churches to choose from, and all of these particular things or whatever. But when you're in an environment like that, now when we go into Nairobi, it's a major city, And it's a place I love to go eat at. And when you come, you got to come, sis.
Okay.
I'm gonna take you to the oyster bar and all of that. You can get a nice steak, and ain't nothing in the parking lot but Maybachs and Bentleys and Mercedes. I mean, like that for real. But when we go on out into the bush, we get out there in them county areas and rural areas like Kissy, like it's totally different. And so you have to really be prepared for this level of ministry. And this is what I want to say. This is what I found out. They're actually not less fortunate when I look at it spiritually. Because spiritually over here in the West, man, we're all the way backwards because we feel that we have options. But when you're in a position where you don't have options and all you have is the word of God, you look at it differently. Like you literally look at it. This is why miracle signs and wonders happen so fluently over there, is because all we have is the infallible word of truth, and they receive it differently. Like they embrace it differently. And so I actually have told them that actually you're actually more fortunate than we are, because like you take this to heart, you take this serious. And so look, I'm not preaching over there and lifting offerings, and it's none of that. Like everything I'm doing there is funded because the Lord is blessing my for-profit businesses, and I'm a big philanthropist to give into my nonprofits or whatever. And so this is how this is funded. So when I'm over there and I'm ministering, I just got to be honest with you. Out there in that particular area, when I have to go to the restroom, and if I was to take a crew, like you're gonna go out to our house. There's a wood box with a door on it, and there's a concrete slab on the floor with a hole in it. Mm-hmm. And you got to work with it. Mm-hmm. Now, you got paper, but I mean, you either gonna squat or you gonna stand, or well, I'm just saying that's what it is. And so because of my humility, and I thank God understand that all those years on 3 hots in a cot and on a steel pad and all that kind of stuff, that I never got so grand that I'm better than that. Mm-hmm. Like, so I don't make people feel like they're less than or whatever. I get right in the culture and I blend right in, and then I speak the word of faith and I teach the word of faith, because I believe that the same faith that got me to where I am is the same faith that can transition them as well.
And it's amazing that you make that correlation, because everything that we go through and experience in life, we don't understand.
Right.
God, why am I having to go through this? Why am I having to experience that? But the word lets us know that God will use every experience that we have had, and he will take it and mold it together and use it for his glory, because of the fact that you drive a Bentley too, but you also know how to get down in the bushes.
That's right.
And for you to still have that spirit of humility is a true sign of leadership, because back to what we just got finished talking about, you got to love the people. I'll get in trouble one more time, because what I feel like I have seen in ministry on a personal level, not just looking across the street at somebody on television that I don't know, but what I know I have seen is people using ministry, and especially international ministry, as clout.
Wow.
As a way to come up and I have churches in another country and everything. But are you really doing the work, and where is your heart for ministry? It's just like people in the United States sometimes use the fact that I'm a pastor and a leader to get open doors because it's for self-benefit, when God says, if I be lifted
up.
And I believe that's one of the reasons exactly that you've had the favor on your life, because I've watched you from a distance and I've seen different things with you. And what I have always seen, and I've shared this with our mutual friend, is, but I feel like he has a humble heart and a heart for ministry and a love for God people. And you have to, when you've been through what you've been through.
Right. And I was going to say to this, and being truly apostolic, and Acts has said, and they had all things common. Mm-hmm. And they had all things common. I do assessments all the time on churches. This is not because I'm judging. This is because I'm invited. Mm-hmm. So when a person invites me to do an assessment, leadership assessment to help them grow, when I pull up, the first thing I notice is a parking lot. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so if all the cars don't look the same, things like that, I'm just saying, okay, are we teaching and preaching all things common from the pulpit, from the platform? Because the real truth is that for those who will engage in faith, God desires this for us all. Mm-hmm. Like Like he desires us all to go. Like I've always been that guy. Let's go up together. Let's come up together. Let's grow together. Everybody at my table eating. Okay, I'm not the only one at my table. Everybody at my table eating. And I was that guy in the street. I'm just saying, like, if you shop with me, everybody at my table eating, and it's always been my thing. So I take care of those who connected to me as we should. If we're going to be truly apostolic, it has to be all things common.
Absolutely, and that is even a common thread in how I've been as a business owner. And I can think of one young lady right now has a tax office that built her business, trained under me, and she said, I remember the first meeting that we had with you, and what attracted me to you was you said, when I eat, y'all are gonna eat.
Right.
I remember I've sacrificed cars, I've sacrificed money, houses, whatever, to make sure that my staff would have. And that's the way that we should be in the kingdom. And one thing I want to say about ministry, international ministry, because you said there are some differences. And I know one of the things, too, why we should not use this as a clout chasing tool, because these are real people with real issues and things that we're not even facing. And we have to be able to handle it and handle it properly. I remember, of course, when you go online, almost immediately you're going to have someone that's watching from an international place. And I did one interview with this man. I love him dearly, Dr. K. and Jacob. Thousands of people watched the interview. And my inbox started to be flooded. And they would watch some of the broadcasts. And I immediately told my bishop after I had this one experience, I said, I'm not equipped to handle this just yet.
Wow.
Because I remember a group saying, well, we want you to just do a broadcast for us. We want you to do a teaching on a certain subject. And I remember seeing them all huddled around just one device, because they were like, there was only one place for them to go in their village to get to the internet. Only one person had a phone, but they were there listening to the word of God. And I'm like, how hungry they are. And there are resources and things that's needed. And I said, the reason I said I'm not ready to handle this just yet, because you don't want to sell false hope, nor do you want to go preaching one thing, because we're thinking about the comfortability that we have and not understanding how they are living.
Let's talk about that.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say that, and so while God has been good to me, and I want to say this, I'll look right in the camera. Lord takes good care of me. My family's good and all of that, but for those who have never been there and may not have a desire to go there, or may not be able to go there, you can support us there. We're really, truly doing the work on the ground. And I'm open. I'm a humble guy, and I'm putting it out there because I'm giving people opportunity. That Paul said this. He said, they can be fruit that shall abound to your account, right? And so if you want to get credit with our God, that you've done well, you can help me help others. You can help me help others, because I would love to build more children's homes, and I would love to be able to send more children to school. And the way I can do that is through your endorsements and through your support.
Absolutely. So how can they then connect with you? And what are some of the resources they need? We always know that money is good, but say if I have a business with certain products and I've got a warehouse and I can send a pallet or what do you call it, shipping container or something over there. What are some of the things outside of monetary resources that would be needed, and how can they get any of the resources to you?
So we can get you all. I see my son on right now, Frederick McCoy. He's the director and overseer. I made him overseer last convocation, and the pastor of the campus pastor of DRM, Kissy. And so I can actually get you all a shipping label if you want to go that route where you can go directly. So we're always in the need of basic things, and that's why I say over here, man, we just have so many. We don't see things like toiletries, or I have young ladies who may now be entering into their menstrual, and so they need things such as this, soaps. I'm talking about basic need type stuff. Basic need type stuff is always welcome. And then again, I will push the point of the school. Like again, unless we pay school fees, and they're not that expensive, but unless we pay school fees, and I'm not trying to roll out this thing that we would see coming up in ministry. I know we would see the televised things or where they would show all these suffering kids and stuff like that. I'm not sharing that, and that's not necessarily what I'm seeing where I am. Okay, that's not what this is. But what I am saying is to know that you invest in another child's education with Burger King and McDonald's money. You would understand that what we're asking for, you could probably sponsor one child's school fees for a semester for like a couple $100.
Okay, and that's little of nothing. That's most people. That's most women's in America's wig.
I can build a home there. I can build a home that me using my team that's on the ground there. My laborers is on the ground there in Kissy. I can build a small 2-bedroom home there for like about $10,000 US.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 to 12. Yeah, $12,000 US for what they live in. I can build that. Okay. I'm just telling you. So we're not talking about a whole lot of stuff here. We're just talking about basic need things.
Okay, so they can go to your website.
Yeah, they can go to my website. That is www.dominiontv.online. That's dominiontv.online. And if you go to dominiontv.online, you'll see that we have our Destiny Foundation Philanthropy Fund. It's different stages of it. I think you can sow from 5,000 to 50, and give it in that. And we are a 501c3. So for those who may be for profit and want a good write-off letter or whatever, you can give there. But if not, and you just want to be connected, because I'm gonna check in with you. I'm gonna give you updates and really be able to say, man, because I'm not trying to keep it all to myself. Because I'm gonna be real with you, and I say this humbly. I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, but to be able to get behind what you see me doing in Kenya, I welcome it. I give an opportunity for every person that wants to be a part of it to be a part of it. I'm getting ready to go right back November 6th through the 9th. Actually, I'll be over there a little longer than that, but 6th through the 9th is our convocation, and I go every May. So I go twice a year on 2 tours.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to say I accept the invitation. And I may not be able to make the November trip. I have a pending surgery 1st of October. But if that doesn't happen, who knows?
Okay.
But definitely I would like to put my name in the hat.
My daughters over there would absolutely love, you're such a minstrel and then a pastor and then, like I say, a businesswoman as well. And they've been begging me, Pop, when you bring on one minister and whatever. And at the time when I first started going, I wasn't married. And then now that I am, of course, because my wife is not a minister or in ministry, but she's been around it because her mom is an apostolic minister and also, so she can share the word and stuff like that. But to have someone from the U.S. side to go with me, our mutual friend, I mentioned to her because she's absolutely awesome in ministry and stuff like that.
Powerful.
But I got to get that there for my daughters because I need them to have their own session.
Absolutely.
I would love to have that.
Wow. Well, these are some great things that you are doing, and we're almost out of time. I mean, we could talk about things like this for a very long time because there's still so much about you that we have not unpacked. Because one of the things I do want to mention is when you go to the website, you may have some questions about even some of the things that he shared as far as his history. When you go to his website, there's also a documentary
of my life,
of your life on there, and it's called From Kilo to King.
That's right.
So that's great, and we actually did an interview on that as well. So there's so many more things about you to unpack. But as we are leaving, is there any one thing that you would like to leave our audience with, any information that we left out, or anything that you would just like to reiterate?
I just like to reiterate the fact, and this is the last thing, is that one of the things that I'm really pushing now, as I am posturing myself to leave legacy. See, that's what I'm pushing now. Is I'm 50, and everything for me now is when Jesus said, I must needs go through Samaria. So I'm not accepting everything. I'm only doing my mandated stuff because my mind is on legacy. Is that one of the things I'm pushing is financial literacy. I'm pushing financial literacy and making sure that you set your family up for generations to come. And that's one of the things that I've done, and I'm excited about it. That's why I have Acklin Estates and all of that. And I built a family compound. I built homes for all my children. They all live on it, and all of that. But just being able to leave an endowment for the generations to come. I believe that God is a generational God. He always reminded us He's God Father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so He's a generational God. And when He intends to really do something in your life, He does not just have your lifetime in mind. Remember that He just does not have your lifetime in mind. He's thinking way down the line. And so if what He gives you to do, you can do it in your lifetime, it probably wasn't God. Right. So He'll always leave it. And this is why we have to have succession plans. And I just want to say that I just ministered here that God is sending help. And so right now I'm opening myself up. I'm telling you all, I welcome help and assistance. I believe in this hour that God is sending me the destiny helpers that I need to get this done. They're going, whether professionals or whether just laymen. I welcome all that will like to be a part of what we're doing in Dominion.
Oh, you just said something that stirred up the preacher on the inside of me, because when you talked about generations, and we're ending, y'all, but what you're doing even there is affecting the next generation with this children's home that you have, because some of those children, you may not even get to see the fruit of what they become as adults and what they pass on, but because of what you are establishing, it's affecting the next generation. Because prophetically, I was talking about prophecy the other day, and we have been trained to believe that we're going to see everything come to pass in our lifetime, because if we don't, that must have been a false prophet. And that's not true, because we do understand. Let's look at Moses. Moses received promises of things that he did not get a chance to experience. If we look at all of the ones who prophesied about Jesus, if that happened way back in the Old Testament, then that meant somebody that was religious probably sat around and said, oh, that wasn't of God.
See?
But it was a prophecy of something that was going to happen generations to come. So oftentimes God will show us what's down the line that's generations away from us. But what's going to happen depends on what we're doing today. I like to say that what somebody else needs is locked up on the inside of us.
That's right.
And we've got to be obedient. And I just want to say, I thank God for your obedience.
Thank you.
I thank God for who you are, the man of God and the brother in Christ that you have been. Over the years, you have always shown me nothing but kindness, and I appreciate it. And we're so glad we're sitting here now in this wonderful facility. And again, I just want to invite or encourage anybody who is in the Columbus, Georgia area to reach out and connect. He has a property management team that manages things here, but the facility is at 4111.
Yeah, 4111 Forest Road, Columbus, Georgia. And you can reach out to Dr. Krista Pugh. She's actually over the property management here, and she's been a liaison in the community because a lot of people recognize her and see her as a general in ministry. And so she's been the catalyst to actually get the individuals in here and negotiate the deals that are good for their budget. And that's what I wanted. And I just thank God for that.
Exactly. So if you're building a ministry, you have a Bible study, or if you just have a special event, this apostolic hub is open for you to take advantage of that, so that you can build your ministry in a place and not be strained financially trying to figure out how you're going to take care of this and that, because all you have to do is pay per event or per service.
Correct.
So we are excited for everything that God's going to do. And we're going to wrap it up here. If you guys have any questions, inbox me or go to Dr. Acklin's website. We're going to let you say it one more time, and then we're going to be done. We thank you so much, and make sure you all tune in and join us again the next time. Tell them one more time what that website is.
So that's www.dominiontv.online, dominiontv.online. That's where you can go to be linked with Dominion, and then www.drfrederickdacklin.com if you want to get my books or check out the documentary and all of that. You can go there as well. And if you're giving, one quick way that you can push the button through Cash App or whatever, that's $Apostle ACK, $Apostle ACKLIN.
Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed rest of your Sunday, and we will see you again the next time. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.